Hello, hello, hello. So, here I am with another video. I'm shooting from Soundberry Borough. My name is Heidi, and today I am going to go through my sketchbook with you. On December 31st, 2022, I started a sketchbook and decided I wanted to try and sketch in my sketchbook every day, kind of like a diary, but more with sketching. And I've really enjoyed it so far. It is February 5th today, and a couple of days ago I finished the first sketchbook. And so that is really, I had so much fun. And so I'm just going to go through it and talk a little bit about the pages and what's on them. Excuse me. I just cleaned out my husband's hot pepper jar, hot pepper sauce jar, and it gives me an asthma attack. I don't know. Does anybody else out there have to take their inhalers whenever they breathe in like hot peppers cooking or anything like that? I'm just curious. But anyway, if you hear me coughing, that's what it's about. I breathed in some hot peppers. So, here we go. Thank you very much for watching. It says it's acid-free watercolor paper, 7 inches by 10 inches, by LermanDecor.com, or Lerman Decor Inc. I am not really knowledgeable about different types of paper, or different, brands, but my phone, I'm just noticing my phone is set up like my camera, and it's kind of a little precarious. So if it falls or anything, I'll have to reset up, but it's holding on right now. Let's hope it continues. So on the first page, I put my name and address just in case anybody finds it. But on the first page is just, I put on all of the pages the time, the date. This one's set up a little different. I have the date in the bottom corner. Any weather related things that are interesting. So on that day it was foggy. I've taken a couple of times natural illustration, scientific illustration course, and so I want to start incorporating a little bit more of that, but that's part of that, like just a record of what the day was like. And I have in here, I practice art and I feel joy. That's kind of my I don't know, my affirmation maybe for this year, if I can remember. And this is our family, well, our youngest son's teddy bear, but the family's all kind of adopted him anyway. His name is Bob, and he looked at me and he said, "No judgment." No judgment on anything that happens in this book. He also told me veggies are delicious. So on that day I was going to visit my grandma and having lunch with a friend, and we were going to check in at an inn. I also put in here just a little drawing of the Christmas cactus, the scientific name. Not specific. I didn't measure the cactus or get too close or too detailed. Just a quick drawing of that. This is ink and watercolor on this page. I'm using a watercolor pen or watercolor brush that has the water in it. I used that a lot for the first half of this book. Then we went away for the night. We went to the inn, and that was a really busy couple of days. So on New Year's Eve, well, just I guess New Year's Day, someone in the hotel maybe was smoking, maybe not, we don't really know. But the fire alarm went off at 1:49 in the morning. I've never had that happen when I stayed at a hotel before. And so it took Colin like 10 minutes, or like it took him a while to wake me up, and 10 minutes for us to make it to the lobby. So I put little notes about that. I brought my own coffee cup and my own coffee because I find hotel coffees don't usually supply good decaf, and I need decaf. I'm allergic to caffeine. So that's always handy. And this was our breakfast. We went there a few years ago and they had a nice big spread, but this time they still, you know, we got a nice little option, but it wasn't quite the same since COVID, but that's okay. This is part of the design that was in the carpet, and so I've kind of changed it a little bit and made it kind of my 2023, another 2023 reminder, which is over here. I went from that to over here. And this reminder is for me to be gentle with myself and others. Well, you know, it's rough. We're having rough times. Just kind of be gentle. We did our first trip on the Ion. So I traced the card and then I drew kind of what I saw on the ticket. Somebody pooped in the shower drain at the hotel. So, you know, that's in there. Got to make a little note of that. That's something. We had our lunch at Moxie's, and it was really good. And I made a note about the bathrooms because I just thought the bathrooms at Moxie's were really nice. It felt private. Well, usually public bathrooms don't really feel private, but that felt private. Who knows if, I don't know, but it was good. When we were in the sauna, I always notice when I get up, my bum print in the sauna is like huge because I have a huge bum, and that's okay. But my husband's bum is a little tiny bum, and it's like he could fit so many of his bums in my bum. I thought I'm just gonna draw that because I just think it's fun. If I don't have fun with this, I've got to stop because I got to keep it fun. So when I got home, I was trying to draw the cats, and if you've ever tried to draw cats who are moving or people who are moving or anything like that, it's a real challenge to get things well. But you just kind of keep practicing. And another cup, a mug of mine. And I had a Gatorade that day, and this is a pen that I used. I had 3 sizes of pens. This is from a book that I got, Jessica Sowards' book, The First Time Homesteader. There's a section on beekeeping in there, and I saw this picture and thought, oh, that might be a fun one to just try and draw. I just think it's pretty. So what am I gratitude? What am I grateful for? One of the things that's hard to find, maybe, it's hard to sit there, excuse me, every day with a blank page, right? What am I going to put on this page today? Because sometimes every day is like the same kind of day, especially when you're someone who likes routine as much as I like routine. So I decided to do part of a dreaming for the year challenge, or not challenge, but exercise that you can find on northernedgealgonquin.com, somewhere around there. If you type in Dare to Dream in the search, you might be able to come up with this kind of exercise that I did throughout here. So gratitude. What was I grateful for in 2022? 2022 was a very hard year, and I wasn't sure I would be grateful for a lot of things, but all my kids were home for Christmas, and that was really nice. I had a time where I almost locked my keys in the car, and I did not, and I was very happy. I'm really happy for my husband. I think he's amazing, and I was gifted this tile in a hand-quilted case that I really loved. There's so many other things. I knew I could keep going once I started. I thought it was going to be a hard page, but once I get started, there's so many family members who are just amazing, and I have great friends, and even when times are tough, there's still things to be grateful for. I'm also, we're on to January 5th, and I did my first pressure canning of the year, which was that was fun. Sometimes I like to pressure can. I like the look of the jars on the shelves. I think they're really pretty, and I like to be able to open them later, and I know that it saves us some money, and I appreciate that. So I did 5 quarts of black beans and 1 pint of Blahilde beans. Yeah, it was good. The next part of this Dare to Dream, what am I ready to release? Well, I realized, I don't have to hold on tightly to my sadness if I feel happy, even if I know that those around me are sad or struggling. And I think for me, that's really important, because I feel like you want to be empathetic to other people when in what they're going through. And so if someone's sad, it seems kind of tone deaf to be happy. But maybe sad people don't need more sad people around them. I don't know. Maybe sad people need happier people around them, and maybe it's okay to be happy even if things are unhappy. And so anyways, and I'm going to continue with decluttering. Hopefully that's a goal this year. Releasing things. I went out for breakfast with my mom on January 6th, and she gave me a little chocolate treat, a mint smoothie chocolate, and it was so good. And then she did a little drawing in here, little things her grandpa, her Poppy, showed her how to do when she was a child, and she wrote them, drew them in my book, and so that was really nice. I took that and I did a Spanish style B, because my married name starts with a B. And that turned out okay. I would change a little, but that's okay. We had lime Doritos and burritos for supper, so I drew the jar. Dreaming for 2023. This is a continuation of the other exercise. What do I want to happen in my life this year? Well, I want the freedom to move. I want the freedom to be able to move around my house, to move around my property, to move around the country, to, move around wherever I feel like I want to move. I want the freedom to express and to move my body and move my life. I went to visit my grandmother and she was sleeping, so I kind of got a bit of a quick sketch of her there. And while I was waiting for my COVID test results, I went and got the bird and tried capturing some of the bird, Sunny. Sunny sings "If You're Happy and You Know It." And there was some toilet paper around because I use that for my watercolor cleanup. So I drew toilet paper and another reminder to be gentle with myself. January 7th, I had a wonderful cookie my son made and coffee, and so I drew that. And another piece of the Dare to Dream exercise. What do I want to accomplish or create this year? I would like to continue with our goal from last year, which is grow 400 pounds of food on our 1/10 of an acre property. And I'd like to do a page a day or equivalent to in the sketchbook. Well, not this one because it's full now, but in a sketchbook. The dreaming continued. I want restful days and nights and a beautiful and abundant garden. January 8th, I was like, oh, what should I draw today? So I drew an onion, a red onion that we get from our organic CSA. At this point, I was using my thick black markers. I'm kind of throwing a shadow on here. Apologies. I was using my thick black marker to do the shadows. I did that for a little bit in the book. There's a tube of toothpaste on the table. I don't know why, so I drew it. And it's very thick lines, so that kind of changes up as we go. But again, it's all play. I also do a section in the kitchen today. So that day on January 8th, I made a pot of vegetable soup, a loaf of sourdough bread, and an apple pie. January 9th, I was back to work. I'm a school bus driver, and so I had to get up at 5 a.m. And I didn't have one of my runs, so I went to visit my mom. This is a hat she made for my aunt. And I put my seed orders into the companies. So new seeds I'm trying this year are absinthe tomato. My husband saw that there are green tomatoes and was very interested. So we're going to try green tomatoes for the first time this year that are ripe. So not just green before they're ripe, but like when they're ripe, they're green. And I'm trying these orca beans. Annapolis Seeds is a little company from Nova Scotia, and they've been in touch with me. I think so far I really like them. We'll see how they do. And my gardener's in Michigan, and he's a pretty popular YouTuber and has a store there, a seed store. And so, yeah. I got new gel pens, some new white gel pens, so I did a little playing with it. And I have a little bit more of a cat. We have 4 cats, so we have a lot of cats we can do. But again, hard to get. So I did just the back of the head, just the eye, just, her tail or her ear or her paw. I wanted to try and capture the light above and below and the shadow of this one. I think it turned out interesting. You can definitely tell what it is. A clementine I had with my breakfast. Last night, I had a dream that had a baby in a cemetery, so I put that in here. I visited my mom. She had an orange out. My husband's hat was on the table, and he loves his buttons, so I drew that. And I went out for supper with a friend, and so I drew the little strawberry candy at the end. I will bring my book out with me to places, restaurants, or people's homes or whatever, and I think that's I've been really enjoying it. I'm wearing my new sweater for the first time. I hand-knit a sweater and it has ghosts on it, so I did a little picture of the ghost. In the kitchen, I did sourdough bread that day, and these are some things I heard there was a pottery class, and I started thinking, what kinds of things can I make with pottery? And so I thought about sculptures for the garden, and that's just part of dreaming. What do I maybe want to accomplish this year? Januhorror 2023. So this was all month, but this is the only one I did from it. And it's like Inktober or something like that, and there's it's hosted by Cigan, C-I-G-A, and I don't know, I can always find her when I look. But if you type in Januhorror 2023, you should come up with lots of different sketches for the month that people have done. And you should be able to find out who hosts on some of those. Starts with C-I-G-A-N. I went out for lunch with my mom after visiting my grandma, and all of the waitresses had really, really long fake eyelashes. And we got a chocolate sundae, and I was trying to draw the chocolate sundae, and it was melting all over the place. I've changed up how I do the shadows, and I just kind of was doing, hatching, and not really in an order or anything else, just kind of hatching. We're on to January 15th. I had a crazy dream that night, and so I posted it. I don't know if you want to hear the dream, but it ended up with me looking kind of crazy, and apparently it was my own fault. So anyway, interesting dream, I think, and worth recording. I fed the worms that day, so I drew a little picture of a red wriggler worm. We have a worm farm. It helps with our garden. The cat was sleeping, one of them, so I was trying to I thought I'd get a better time with her, but another cat woke her up, so that's all I got. And another in the kitchen today: sourdough muffins, vegetable soup, and sourdough bread. So I did a piece of garlic. Did some garlic there. I had no idea what to draw, and so I just started drawing my mug in different spots, and I really like this page. I think it's cozy. The first one up top, I didn't know. I was like, why is the mug on the table tilted? And then I kind of realized it was my head, and so my head was tilted, not the cup. And that's something to keep in mind as I go forward and look at things. How is my head in relation to, my eye line? Is my eye line horizontal or is my eye line tilted? And am I seeing things differently because of that? And I still have the crazy shadows. Crazy hatching for the shadows. This page, after I watched a VanStone video, and if you're someone who draws and and specifically ink or like sketching, she's fantastic. I really am enjoying her. She has 4 essential drawing tips. You want to look at them, don't look at this. Go check out one of her videos if you're interested. Self-portrait, so I did a value study. And then with this one, I did, first I did like a fine pen, just structure, guidelines. Then I put in watercolor just for the values. And then I went back in with pen and then I put highlights on. And I really like this page. Self-portraits. I do quite a lot of self-portraits. My husband got a bird feeder from someone at work who didn't need it. She had enough and got it as a gift and thought we might like it. So now we have to try to understand where to put this bird feeder, but it's quite lovely. And I was just doing a little bit of watercolor practice, and that's my clementine peel. In the kitchen, I made croutons for soup. On the 17th, excuse me. On the 17th, I went for a mammogram as follow-up to a previous mammogram, and I saw this spot on here. I go back this month. Maybe this is too much information, but I go back this month for another one, and they're going to do an aspiration where they stick a needle in to remove fluid, and they'll get the fluid tested. Anyway, that's okay. We'll see what happens. Here I don't know. I just kind of went crazy with ink, with pen. And I like this page a lot. I think it looks, I don't know. I like it. But it looks like a lot of work. Like, I think it looks, I don't know, almost like, excuse me, I'm hesitant to say it, but it almost looks like a professional drew it. But again, I'm hesitant to say that, but I don't know. It's very interesting, but I look at it and I think, man, that's a lot of ink marks. And so this one stands out for that reason. It's just the whole thing is a lot of pen marks. This one, I have a watercolor palette that I've been using, but I didn't actually know what the colors were. So now I know what the colors are. And when I look at it, I can say, oh, well, I can say what color do I want, and I can look, because they don't look the same in the palette as they do on the paper. And I think I should actually do one of these that I have that's separate, that I can just bring with me to use, in all my sketchbooks. And then I have it. And then I just did some practicing. I haven't done a whole lot of watercolor, so it's kind of fun. I was just playing. This is, again, with France VanStone, drawing Skid. Sid is the muse. Sid is the muse. And that was a lot of fun. I'll probably do more. This one I actually sat and did with her. But there's a few videos, and I'll probably do some more. I thought that was fun. Drawing the paper that I used for watercolor cleanup. And this is our cat, one of our cats. Again, moving around. It's hard to get them. And I don't have as much with pets. Here we have another dreaming page. I would love to have a circle stained glass window. And I would love to see the water every day. I think that would be wonderful. And I would like to have lots of hugging and cuddling with my honey. That's based on a picture of us, one of our favorite pictures of us from years ago, when we were still little. On the 21st, I visited my grandma with my mom, and we went to Country Boy Restaurant after, and they give you your own carafe of coffee. And I just think that's wonderful. I made sourdough bread again. Sometimes it's just a note and not like a drawing, just a little note. These are more self-portraits. The self-portrait I did previously, this is based on the same picture. So in these I did watercolor. In this one I did watercolor with my paints. And then I went over and did a blind contour, and that was so much fun. It's been a while since I did that, actually. But I'm hoping to do that. I'll probably do that again because I had a lot of fun with it. I think it's an interesting result. And this is another one, the same thing, only this is around the time I started using my Lyra Aqua Duo markers and mixing them with water. And that was really a lot of fun too. And from here on out for the rest of this book, I think I mostly just use the markers, the Aqua Duo brush markers. Hand study. And there was a mirror on the table, so I drew that. Here's another hand study with a blind contour. And in the front garden we had snow. And we didn't have a lot of snow in January until about this day, the 24th. And then we started getting a lot of snow. And that's weird where I live. We usually get a lot of snow. This is Jess from Roots and Refuge Farm. Page 167 of her book, The First Time Homesteader. It's, when I tell people who it is, they can see it, but it kind of looks like her, but it kind of doesn't, and that's okay. I rarely do portraits of other people. I don't do them as much. I get a little more nervous. I stick with self-portraits because if it doesn't look like me, or if sometimes people find my portraits ugly. I've had that. I did a portrait one time of someone who said, "Oh, that's so ugly. I can't even look at it," and I didn't think it was ugly. So, and I've had that from a few people. So I don't know. I see things ugly. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think it's ugly. But anyway, so it's hard to get that kind of feedback when you put so much time and energy and love into something. So I tend to stick mostly with people that are me. I stick mostly with drawing people that are me. Anyway. But anyway, I like it. I think it's interesting, and it's good practice. I had a friend gift me with a plate quite a few years ago, and so that's part of it. I had a snow day. School buses were canceled, so I got to stay home. And so I drew the underside of my nose. Why not? On the 25th, I had a first aid training. And so I knew I had to take pictures of the mannequins. I was hoping when I was there that I could just draw the mannequins, but I had to take pictures because I just didn't have time. Because they're just so creepy and fun. Anyone who knows me knows a little bit of creepy and fun is I like it. And so I think they're a hoot. Practicing drawing candles, a candle thing. I fell in the parking lot at work, so I documented that. I was at my mom's and I drew some of her salt shakers on the table. And we had homemade tomato basil soup for lunch, using tomatoes from the garden last year. This is just a sketch of what I saw from the table, just a quick, not trying to get anything right, more just gestural, just get it down on the paper and try to represent it. Another one of my coffee cup with the Lyra markers, and This is also a picture of a Nubian goat from The First Time Homesteader by Jessica Sowards. I just thought that goat was so wonderful. I think all the animals there are wonderful. My mom has a statue of the Virgin Mary that I think is fantastic for a couple of reasons. But so I've always loved it. And I was leaving after a big snowfall. And it was sitting outside and she was just covered in snow and she looked so lovely. And my mom said, "Doesn't it look like she's being hugged?" And I thought, yes, it certainly does. And so I took a picture of it and I had to draw that. We were out for breakfast with my brother and his partner and one of their children. And one of their children and one of my children made this stack of salt, a salt shaker with peanut butters and jams and a bowl of sweetener on top. So I took a picture of that because it was just fun. We have had squash going bad in the kitchen. I like to stock up on squash, but I don't eat it as much as fast as it goes. So I'm always looking for squash recipes. So if you have any good squash recipes, please let me know.